Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Bonnie, and today I will be going through my most anticipated releases of 2022. So I'm going to be going through these off of GOODREADS and kind of sharing their description of what I'm most hype about. There are some sequels on here, so if I'm able, I'll try and kind of summarize what the first book is about, so I don't have to worry about any spoilers happening. So I have GOODREADS pulled up for reading synopses and kind of having a date estimation for when it'll be released. I feel like we all kind of have particularly learned with all the pandemic stuff that publishing dates can really change quite a bit. So, this is all remaining tentative. We're just hopeful that they come out when they say they will. So let's get started. The first book I'll be talking about today has probably the soonest release date, at least that I know of books that I am intrigued by, and that is Where the Drowned Girls Go by Seanan McGuire. This is the latest installment of the Wayward Children novella series. I believe this is book number 7, and since they are kind of all like novella standalones, I will share the synopsis for it. I think this is considered a sequel versus some are kind of prequel but I will just share this because it sounds like it'll be a super great installment. It says, "Welcome to the Whitethorn Institute. The first step is always admitting you need help, and you've already taken that step by requesting a transfer into our company. There is another school for children who fall through doors and fall back out again. It isn't as friendly as Eleanor West's Home for Wayward Children, which we follow in the first installment, Every Heart a Doorway. And it isn't as safe. When Eleanor West decided to open her school, her sanctuary, her home for wayward children, she knew from the beginning that there would be children she couldn't save. When Cora decides she needs a different direction, a different fate, a different prophecy, Miss West reluctantly agrees to transfer her to the other school, where things are run very differently by Whitethorn, the headmaster. She will soon discover that not all doors are welcoming." So, yeah, I was right in thinking this is more of a sequel because we do see a little bit of Cora in some of the other installments. But again, these all can be read individually if you so choose. But this sounds cool. I'm down for us to get a little darker situation going on. I'm really intrigued to see what this is. My favorite installment was In an Absent Dream, so if this is anything like that, I think I might super like it, although this will be different since it will, or at least my understanding, it'll be set in our world. It's just a different children's home, but I'm interested. I'm excited. The next book I have to discuss is slated for February 2022, and that is Delilah Green Doesn't Care by Ashley Herring Blake. First off, this cover looks adorable, and this fine looking lady with the tattoo sleeves black moment, I want to know what she's about. The description says, "A clever and steamy queer romantic comedy about taking chances and accepting love with all its complications by debut author Ashley Herring Blake." Delilah Green swore she would never go back to Bright Falls. Nothing is there for her but memories of a lonely childhood where she was little more than a burden to her cold and distant stepfamily. Her life is in New York, with her photography career finally gaining steam and her bed never empty. Sure, it's a different woman every night, but that's just fine with her. When Delilah's estranged stepsister Astrid pressures her into photographing her wedding with a guilt trip and a 5-figure check, Delilah finds herself back in the godforsaken town that she used to call home. She plans to breeze in and out, but then she sees Claire Sutherland, one of Astrid's stuck-up besties, and decides that maybe there's some fun and a little retribution to be had in Bright Falls after all. Having raised her 11-year-old daughter mostly on her own while dealing with her unreliable ex and running a bookstore, Claire Sutherland depends upon a life without surprises, and Delilah Green is an unwelcome surprise at first. At first? Okay. Though they've known each other for years, they don't really know each other, so Claire is unsettled when Delilah figures out exactly what buttons to push. When they're forced together during a gauntlet of wedding preparations, including a plot to save Astrid from her horrible fiancé, Claire isn't sure she has the strength to resist Delilah's charms. Even worse, she's starting to think she doesn't want to. Okay, this sapphic romance sounds like it's going to be so good. I'm so intrigued. I want it now. I'm very excited. The next book I have to share is slated for the very beginning of April, and that is The City of Dusk by Tara Sim. It says, set in a gorgeous world of bone and shadow magic, of vengeful gods and defiant chosen ones, The City of Dusk is the first in a dark epic fantasy trilogy that follows the 4 heirs of 4 noble houses, each gifted with a divine power, as they form a tenuous alliance to keep their kingdom from descending into a realm-shattering war. The 4 realms, life, death, light, and darkness, all converge on the City of Dusk. For each realm there is a god, and for each god there is an heir. But the gods have withdrawn their favor from the once vibrant and thriving city, and without it all the realms are dying. Unwilling to stand by and watch the destruction, the 4 heirs, Risha, a necromancer struggling to keep the peace, Angelica, an elementalist with her eyes set on the throne, Tasia, a shadow-wielding rogue with rebellion in her heart, and Nick, a soldier who struggles to see the light, will sacrifice everything to save the city, but their defiance will cost them dearly. Goodreads also marks this as LGBT. So, intriguing fantasy. LGBT? Heck yeah. Heck yeah. In mid-April, we have the release of Fevered Star by Rebecca Roanhorse, which is book 2 of the Between Earth and Sky series. The first book being Black Sun, which I read, I believe, last year. Yes, in 2020, because it was published in 2020, and I read it pretty close to when it was released. I got it on audiobook from my library, and I super loved it. It's a super, complex fantasy series that has multiple characters and complexities and prophecies, but I was just, enthralled the whole time, although I feel like I was sucked in so much I can't even explain to you a good premise of what book 1 is about. So, while I can't read the Fevered Star synopsis because of spoiler reasons, I will read the synopsis for Black Sun to hopefully pique your interest. So, it is the first book in Between Earth and Sky trilogy, inspired by the civilizations of the pre-Columbian Americas and woven into a tale of celestial prophecies, political intrigue, and forbidden magic. A god will return when the earth and sky converge under the black sun. In the holy city of Tova, the winter solstice is usually a time for celebration and renewal, but this year it coincides with a solar eclipse, a rare celestial event prescribed by the sun priest as an unbalancing of the world. Meanwhile, a ship launches from a distant city bound for Tova and set to arrive on the solstice. The captain of the ship, Delilah, is a disgraced teak whose song can calm the waters and around her as easily as it can warp a man's mind. Her ship carries one passenger. Described as harmless, the passenger, Serapio, is a young man, blind, scarred, and cloaked in destiny. As Jalo well knows, when a man is described as harmless, he usually ends up being a villain. That synopsis only scratches the surface of the complexities and intrigue that is this story. Highly recommend, and I am excited for the next installment. The next one I have to discuss is I Kissed Shara Wheeler by Casey McQuiston, which is slated to be released early May 2022. So this one I'm intrigued by, but I'm hesitant about it because I loved Red, White, and Royal Blue, but One Last Stop was just okay, a little bit of a letdown. So I'm hesitant, but this one is a little different because it is their first step into YA, while the other ones were all adult romance or new adult romance. So I'm intrigued by it. It also gives off vibes of Paper Towns, which you will see when I share the synopsis. Ooh, it's a long one. Okay. Chloe Green is so close to winning. After her mom's moved her from SoCal to Alabama for high school, she's spent the past 4 years dodging gossipy classmates and a puritanical administration at Willow Grove Christian Academy. The thing that's kept her going, winning valedictorian, her only rival, prom queen Shara Wheeler, and the principal's perfect progeny. But a month before graduation, Shara kisses Chloe and vanishes. On a furious hunt for answers, Chloe discovers she's not the only one Shara kissed. There's also Smith, Shara's longtime quarterback sweetheart, and Rory, Shara's bad boy neighbor with a crush. The three have nothing in common except Shara and the annoyingly cryptic notes she left behind. But together they must untangle Shara's trail of clues and find her. It'll be worth it if Chloe can drag Shara back before graduation to beat her fair and square. Thrown into an unlikely alliance, chasing a ghost through parties, break-ins, puzzles, secrets revealed on monogrammed stationery, Chloe starts to suspect that there might be more to this small town than she thought, and maybe, probably not, but maybe, more to Shara too. Fierce, funny, and frank, Casey McQuiston's I Kissed Shara Wheeler is about breaking the rules, getting messy, and finding love in unexpected places. So, it sounds fun. Like I said, it's compared to Paper Towns with girl goes missing and they have to go hunt her down and everything. Didn't love Paper Towns, so I'm hoping this is a better take on such a trope. But, I don't know, I don't expect to love this, but it sounds like a fun time, so I'll probably give it a whirl. YA contemporary usually has to be something really special to get my interest, but I've enjoyed Casey McQuiston in the past, so I want to give them another try. So I'm bound to check this one out at some point. The next on my list is another May release, and that is Siren Queen by Neville. I really enjoyed Nevo's writing of Empress of Salt and Fortune and When the Tiger Came Down on the Mountain, and I'm very intrigued by this one. Also, I love the cover. It's super stunning with this lady and smoke, and it just... I'm intrigued. The synopsis says, "It was magic. In every world, it was a kind of magic. No maids, no funny talking, no fanning flowers. Lily Way is beautiful, talented, and desperate to be a star. Coming of age in pre-code Hollywood, she knows how dangerous the movie business is and how limited the rules are for a Chinese-American woman from Hungarian Hill. But she doesn't care. She'd rather play a monster than a maid. But in Lily's world, the worst monsters in Hollywood are not the ones on screen. The studios want to own everything from her face to her name to the woman she loves. And they run on a system of bargains made in blood and ancient magic, powered by the endless sacrifice of unlucky starlets like her. For those who do survive to earn their fame, success comes with a steep price. Luli is willing to do whatever it takes, even if it means becoming the monster herself. Siren Queen offers up an enthralling exploration of an outsider achieving stardom on her own terms in a fantastical Hollywood where the monsters are real and the magic of the silver screen illuminates every page. Does that not sound epic? That sounds so epic. And like our main character just sounds so badass. And I'm intrigued. I'm excited. I just think it's going to be yet another great one from Neville. Another book in May that I am intrigued by is Book of Night by Holly Black. This is said to be her first ever official adult fantasy book, so I am intrigued just by the fact she is delving into the adult level of things. I feel like the Cruel Prince books were stretching a little, wanting to become new adult, so I feel like it just makes sense for her to finally stretch out into adult. So I am intrigued. I will read this synopsis, but it looks pretty long, but okay. And it does compare it to Ninth House and the Night Circus. Neither I loved, but I like the vibes of, so I think I could vibe with this one. It says, in Charlie Hall's world, shadows can be altered for entertainment and cosmetic preferences, but also to increase power and influence. You can alter someone's feelings and memories, but manipulating shadows has a cost, with the potential to take hours or days from your life. Your shadow holds all of the parts of you that you want to keep hidden. A second self standing just to your left, walking behind you into lit rooms. And sometimes it has a life of its own. Charlie is a low-level con artist. Intriguing. Working as a bartender while trying to distance herself from the powerful and dangerous underground world of shadow trading. She gets by doing odd jobs for her patrons and the naive new money in her town at the edge of the Berkshires. But when a terrible figure from her past returns, Charlie's present life is thrown into chaos and her future seems at best unclear and at worst non-existent. Determined to survive, Charlie throws herself into a maelstrom of secrets and murder, setting her against a cast of doppelgangers, mercurial billionaires, shadow thieves, and her own sister, all desperate to control the magic of the shadows. With sharp angles and prose and a sinister bent, Holly Black is a master of shadow and story stitching. Remember while you read, light isn't playing tricks in Book of Night, the people are. Okay, sign me up. This sounds so fun and intriguing. I want to explore this magic world more. Also, are we gonna see cons? I hope so. This next one I actually found out from watching Rose anticipated releases for 2022, so shout out to her. But this one sounds so intriguing. It is Wrath Gotta Sing by Maya Deane, and it is slated for early June. It says, drawing on ancient texts and modern archaeology to reveal the trans woman's story hidden underneath the well-known myths of the Iliad, Maya Deane's Wrath Gotta Sing weaves a compelling, pitiless, beautiful version of Achilles' vanished world, perfect for the fans of Song of Achilles and the Inheritance trilogy. The gods wanted blood, she fought for love. Achilles has fled her home and her vicious Myrmidon clan to live as a woman with the Calais, the transgender priestesses of Great Mother Aphrodite. When Odysseus comes to recruit the prince, Achilles, for a war against the Hittites, she prepares to die rather than fight as a man. However, her divine mother Athena intervenes, transforming her body into the woman's body she always longed for, and promises her everything: glory, power, fame, victory in war, and most importantly, a child born of her own body. Reunited with her beloved cousin Patroclus and his brilliant wife, the sorceress Merapi, Achilles sets out to war with a vengeance. But the gods, a dysfunctional family of abusive immortals that have glutted on human sacrifices for centuries, have woven ancient schemes more blood-soaked and nightmarish than Achilles can imagine. At the center of all is the cruel immortal Helen, who sees Achilles as a worthy enemy after millennia of ennui and emptiness. In love with her newfound nemesis, Helen sets out to destroy everything and everyone Achilles cherishes, seeking a battle to the death. An innovative spin on a familiar tale, this is the Trojan War unlike anything ever told, and Achilles, whose vulnerability is revealed by the people she chooses to fight and chooses to trust. Does that not sound awesome? Like, it sounds both complex and divine. I'm very excited to see how this is. I'm hoping for some beautiful writing. Yeah, I'm very intrigued. The next book is The It Girl by Ruth Ware, and Goodreads has this slated for July 2022, which I really enjoy Ruth Ware's books. I'm like making my way through her backlist, so I'm excited she's got a new something coming out. I super loved One by One, which is currently her latest work until this one comes out. So I'm just here for a good time. I'm ready for a good time. I really get sucked into her works. Even if they're not my favorite, I'm still like really captivated into how the stories unfold. The synopsis says April Cott's Clivenden was the first person Hannah Jones met at Oxford. Vivacious, bright, occasionally vicious, and the ultimate it girl, she quickly pulls Hannah into her dazzling orbit. Together they developed a group of devoted and inseparable friends, Will, Hugh, Ryan, and Emily, during their first term. By the end of the second, April is dead. Now, a decade later, Hannah and Will are expecting their first child, and the man convicted of killing April, former Oxford porter John Neville, has died in prison. Relieved to have finally put the past behind her, Hannah's world is rocked when a young journalist comes knocking and presents a new evidence that Neville may have been innocent. As Hannah reconnects with old friends and delves deeper into the mystery of April's death, she realizes that the friends she thought she knew all have something to hide, including a murder. Like, I'm intrigued. I will say it does sound a little bit of the vibe of her older book, The Lion Game, because it's again a group of school friends that were super close in their youth, and then they all go separate ways, and then they come back for like a reunion kind of thing to solve a mystery. So like, interesting how similar it feels, but I wasn't in love with how The Lion Game went about, so I'm hoping this is like her way of kind of like redoing it, reimagining it, some other twists and turns. So I'm intrigued. I doubt I'll get to it right away, because I love getting Ruth Ware like secondhand, because I just hate how pricey thriller mystery books are when you are like done with them so freaking soon. But yeah, so I am anticipating that, and I don't know, I'm excited to see how everyone feels about this one, being that so many people were against One by One, even though I love that one, but I'm just interested to see how it all goes down. In August, we have a graphic novel that I pre-ordered so fast when I learned it was happening, and that is Fence Rise, Volume 5. This will be the latest installment in the Fence graphic novel series, which I absolutely love. Literally every volume I have given 5 stars. I just adore it so much. It makes me so warm and happy inside. This is a graphic novel series following this kind of boarding school of boys and their fencing team. You have a variety of personalities. You have one of our characters, Nicholas, is from a poorer upbringing, but he has like a natural talent for fencing, although not as professionally trained as everyone else at the boarding school. So he's there on scholarship. Another main character is Seiji, who is like a fencing prodigy who goes to the school and ends up being Nicholas's roommate. And Nicholas is like determined that they are rivals, even though Seiji does not see him as a rival. So like they have amazing banter and just like it's great. And then there's other characters as well, but I would say Nicholas and Seiji are our main two characters in the graphic novels. So it's funny, it's cute. There's like family friend drama in them, and I just eat them up. I eat up these stories so much. So when I saw about Volume 5 was happening, I pre-ordered that sucker same day I knew. I pre-ordered it. In September, Leigh Bardugo announced that there will be a graphic novel of Demon in the Wood, which was previously a short story in the Grisha verse following like the background of the Darkling. So it will be that story as well as some bonus content, expanded stories. So I'm super excited for that. I just find the Darkling such an interesting, complex character, so I'm very intrigued, and I think the art style of the cover is beautiful. So if the inside is anything like that, I think I will be very happy. A reprint re-release, Signal to Noise by Sylvia Moreno-Garcia. So I believe this is an older story of hers that is being re-released, much like The Beautiful Ones was. I've really enjoyed both of the books I've read by this author. It was Mexican Gothic and The Beautiful Ones I've both extremely enjoyed. So while I'm trying to make my way through their backlist titles, I am intrigued to hit this one up as well. It is set for a reprint in September, and the description says it is a literary fantasy about love, music, and sorcery set against the background of Mexico City. Mexico City, 1988. Long before iTunes or MP3s, you said I love you with a mixtape. Meche, awkward and 15, has two equally unhit friends, Sebastian and Daniela, and a whole lot of vinyl records to keep her company. When she discovers how to cast spells using magic, the future looks brighter for the trio. With help from this newfound magic, the three friends will piece together their broken families, change their status as non-entities, and maybe even find love. Mexico City, 2009. 2 decades after abandoning the metropolis, Meche returns for her estranged father's funeral. It's hard enough to cope with her family, but then she runs into Sebastian, and it revives memories from her childhood she thought she buried a long time ago. What really happened back then? What precipitated the bitter falling out with her father? And is there any magic left? So it's marked magical realism and young adult on GOODREADS, but I'm expecting like beautiful, complex musings if it's anything like her other books, or just like a really great setting. I feel like Mexican Gothic and The Beautiful Ones both created such like ingrained settings. You just felt like you were there with them. So I am excited to try this one out, and I really like this cover. I feel like it's quite unique. Like it reminds me kind of like chalkboard art. But yeah, so like I said, I want to read more Silvia Moreno-Garcia, and with this being a re-release, it sounds like a great opportunity for me to continue on. The next book I want to talk about is one that doesn't really have a set in stone publication date. Goodreads says it's for January 2022, but I think that's a lie. I think that's a lie because Goodreads does not have a book cover for it. And like it doesn't even have a proper synopsis yet. I just see someone's comment that says that Followed of Fortune by Chloe Gong is going to be a speculative historical noir surrounding the events of Imperial Japan's expansion into China in the 1930s. A familiar character is recruited as a national spy, maintaining her false identity by posing as a young married couple with someone who might be the very enemy. So, again, that's not like officially posted synopsis to Goodreads, so I'm assuming that came from a tweet that Chloe Gong must have posted or something like that, or maybe an interview, I'm not sure. But I really love Chloe Gong's character work in These Violent Delights duology, and it sounds like a character from that we might be seeing again, so I'm really excited for it. Although there's no picture, we're practically in January already, and there's not much updates on Goodreads, so I have no clue if this even is still slated for 2022, but I am ever so hopeful. One of the books that I am anticipating the most won't be coming out until October 2022, and that is Silverborn, The Mystery of Morrigan Crow by Jessica Townsend. This will be the latest installment in the Nevermore Middle Grade series, following our main character Morrigan Crow, who is believed to be a cursed child and is doomed to die on her 11th birthday, but then a mystical kooky man, Jupiter North, comes to her rescue and whisks her away into a magical society. So things take off from there. Book 1 is really Morrigan doing a bunch of trials to prove that she belongs in Nevermore. Book 2 is more exploration of the school she becomes a part of and further growing with her unit of classmates. And book 3, you dive even deeper into the Nevermore world. You learn further about their society as well as their history, and Morrigan gets to know her powerful knack a little bit better. So from the synopsis of Silverborn, it does say that we will be traveling to places in Nevermore that we've never seen, which is so freaking exciting. I love how Jessica Townsend world builds, so that makes me so pumped to see where it goes from here. And it says we're also going to meet people from Morrigan's past who will be very important in untangling the mystery of who she is. Like, what? I don't know what that means, but I am so excited for it. So that'll about do it for all of the books I am highly anticipating releasing in 2022. I'm sure there's ones I've forgotten to discuss, but I would love to hear down below what ones you're looking forward to, or what ones you think I should keep an eye out for. But I think we have a lot of great books coming out in the new year, so super excited. Thank you so much for watching. Like and subscribe if you enjoyed, and I hope to see you here in the next one. Bye.